The Venezuelan opposition is ramping up pressure on the Maduro regime despite the recent round of political repressions. One America's Kristian Rouz has more.
A rising number of Venezuelan dissidents take refuge at foreign embassies in Caracas as the Maduro regime is ramping up its crackdown on the ongoing protests. 3 opposition lawmakers entered the embassies of Italy and Argentina over the weekend, while 18 military officials are sheltered at the embassy of Panama. Many others are in hiding at undisclosed locations around the country.
I decided that being in an embassy could be used for the fight in some way. The regime is not only a Venezuelan problem, but a regional problem. Already, just as politicians are filling up their embassies, their countries will be filled with Venezuelan refugees.
Embattled President Nicolas Maduro has threatened criminal cases against top opposition figures after an inconclusive uprising earlier this month. Several lawmakers were placed under house arrest, while others were abducted by Maduro loyalists and Cuban operatives. But despite the crackdown, Venezuelan dissidents don't plan to leave the country. Interim President Juan Guaidó is urging new protests against the latest round of political repressions.
What still keeps Maduro in power today is what he has most openly shown in the last few hours. It's terror. The persecution of oil workers, nurses, and transportation workers, as well as imprisonments or even political assassinations.
For his part, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is set to travel to Russia to discuss the Venezuelan crisis with Vladimir Putin and top Russian officials Tuesday. This comes as Guaidó is calling for US military assistance to help the opposition, while Russia is protecting the embattled leader. Leaders of the National Assembly claim up to 85% of Venezuelan soldiers don't support Maduro, but loyalty of high-ranking military officials keeps the struggling president in power.
The Cubans have infiltrated the Venezuelan military from top to bottom, and it's very difficult for any 2 officers in the Venezuelan military to have a conversation without it being overheard or without having the Cuban intelligence know about it and allow Maduro to take action.
None of Venezuelan dissidents have requested asylum in foreign embassies so far, saying they intend to wait for an imminent collapse of the Maduro regime. Meanwhile, street protests in Caracas continue, despite Maduro's threats.
We are going to be with you on the streets, as you are. To the public employees, I say we are going to insist on the protest and to overcome the fear.
Interim President Guaidó says he's considering using force to remove Maduro for the first time since mass protests broke out back in January. Kristian Rouz, One America News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.